Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/AITA. In today's episode, AITA for telling my wife the lock on my daughter's door does not get removed till my brother-in-law and his daughters are out of our house. AITA for causing a mass exodus from my uncle's barbecue. AITA for refusing to make all my husband's meals. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. AITA for telling my wife the lock on my daughter's door does not get removed till my brother-in-law and his daughters are out of our house. My brother-in-law, Sammy, lost his home shortly after his divorce 10 months ago. He moved in with us and brought his twin daughters, Olivia and Sloane 18, with him a couple of months ago. His sister, my wife, and I have one daughter, Zoe 16, and she and her cousins aren't close but get along fine. Olivia and Sloane have no respect for Zoe's privacy, none. They used to walk into her room and take everything they get their hands on. Makeup, phone accessories, clothes, school laptop, etc. Zoe complained a lot, and I've already asked the girls to respect Zoe's privacy and stop taking things. My wife and Sammy saw no issue with this. After all, they're girls and this typical teenage girl's behavior. I completely disagreed. Last straw was when Zoe bought a $60 M.A.C makeup kit that looks like a paint set that she saved up for over a month, and one of the girls, Sloane, took it without permission and ruined it by mixing shades together while using it. Don't know much about makeup, but that's what Zoe said when she found the kit on her bed and was crying. I told my wife and she said she'd ask Sloane to apologize, but I got Zoe a lock after I found she was moving valuable belongings out the house because of this incident. Sammy and his daughters saw the lock and weren't happy. The girls were extremely upset. Sammy asked about it and I straight up told him. He said my daughters aren't thieves. It's normal that girls of the same age borrow each other's stuff. He said Zoe could easily get another makeup kit for $15 from Walmart and shouldn't even be buying expensive adult makeup in the first place, and suggested my wife take care of this defect in Zoe's personality, trying to appear older than she is. He accused me of being overprotective and babying Zoe with this level of enablement. I told him this between me and my wife, but she shamed me for putting a lock on Zoe's door for her cousins to see and preventing them from spending time with her, saying I was supposed to treat them like daughters, then demanded I remove it, but I said this lock does not get removed till her brother and his daughters are out of our house. She got mad I was implying we kick them out and said her family'll hate me for this. So I reminded her that I let Sammy and his family move, in which something her own family refused to do, so she should start with shaming/blaming them for not taking their own son and nieces/granddaughters in. If it wasn't for her family's unwillingness to help, we wouldn't be dealing with this much disturbance at home. Everyone's been giving me and Zoe silent treatment, and my wife is very much upset over this. NTA. Don't back down. You are the only one sticking up for Zoe. If her cousins want to use expensive makeup, give them your wife's. I guarantee she won't appreciate sharing anymore. They need to start behaving like appreciative guests. I love this idea. NTAOP, you have your daughter's back and totally get her need for privacy and autonomy over her stuff. I'm disgusted that her own mother isn't more supportive. Please lend some mother's makeup to the twins, because obviously it's what girls do, isn't it? They love to borrow and use each other's stuff. Without asking. Not. NTA. Your wife harbors someone who tells you that Zoe has a defect in her personality for buying an expensive makeup kit. That's the kind of thing that has people thinking about divorce. Exactly. As a mother myself, I cannot fathom how any mother would let someone treat their child like that, even if it is family. That would have bought them a one-way ticket right out my front door. If your kid can't count on you to protect them, who can they count on? NTA. NTA. Your daughter doesn't feel like she has any privacy or respect in her own home, and you gave her a lock to give her back her privacy. You tried talking to your wife, your Bill, and your nieces, and that got you nowhere. If your daughter has to accept 3 additional adults living in her home, they need to accept her very reasonable boundaries of not taking and ruining her things. Good for you showing your daughter you respect and support her. They are 18, this is 100% vindictive. Mixing and destroying a new palette and leaving it on Zoe's bed screams of malice. NTA. Good on you for standing up for your daughter, your wife, Baal, and his daughters are TA. Your wife's argument that this is preventing them from spending time with her is completely invalid. They go into her room when she isn't there and take her stuff. Besides, they can spend time together in the living room or wherever else. Your BIL is ignorant. Mac versus Walmart has no comparison. Calling your daughter a defect is rich from a man whose adult daughters steal from a child. Perhaps he should fix this defect in their personalities. Stand your ground, this means so much to your daughter, you cannot fathom. Wife needs to stop enabling BIL/cousin's bad behavior. She's essentially picking them over her own husband and daughter, but I'm certain she doesn't see that. I let Sammy and his family move in which something her own family refused to do. I think you need to think ahead with this situation. You or your daughter are already uncomfortable in your own home. Your wife is upset. You need to do what is right for your immediate family before it puts even more strain on your relationship. I think you need to get them to leave before it gets worse. It doesn't take much imagination to see how it could. How uncomfortable do you have to be in your own home before something snaps? This is not a tenable situation. You have a right to feel safe/comfortable in your own home, and anyone that militates against that is playing a dangerous game. NTA. Sammy sounds like he is spoiling his daughters and justifying their actions by blaming the victim, Zoe. Kicking them out may be a good idea at this point. AITA for causing a mass exodus from my uncle's barbecue? My F32 uncle, M71, and his wife, F69, recently hosted a family barbecue at their home. This is normally a rotating thing, so everyone in the family takes turns hosting. My uncle is a very difficult man to get along with, and I mostly went because it is important to my mom, F66. He is very rigid in his beliefs and will make it very clear to you if you have done something to offend him. Once that has happened, there is no chance for redemption regardless of whether you are family, friends, or a stranger. While at the barbecue, everyone was standing around and my daughter, F6, helped herself to a banana from the fruit bowl. Now obviously, you shouldn't take anything that doesn't belong to you without asking, but she is 6 and manners are still being learnt. Not saying she was right in this. That being said, my uncle lost his mind. He called her a thieving brat and started threatening to call the cops. I stepped in and he told me to pack up my stuff and go because he didn't want thieves in his home. He told me that neither myself, my daughter, or my husband, M33, would ever be welcome again because clearly this was a top behavior. I was furious. I told my uncle that this intolerance was why he has no friends, and why we only visit his home out of obligation. I told him that without my mom's family values, there wouldn't be anyone at the barbecue. In the middle of this, he pulled out his phone to call Mr. Police and ask how a little girl would survive in prison. My daughter was beside herself, so I gathered her and my husband, and we left. Apparently, after we left, my uncle was ranting and raving, and eventually my cousin, F24, not his child, told my uncle that he was lucky he didn't try with someone else in the family because I was still polite in what I said. She told him that she refused to eat at the home of someone who thought it is okay to bully a child. As my cousin left, apparently quite a few people followed, and suddenly it was just my uncle and his wife left. His wife has been calling me telling me that I humiliated him in his own home and I can't expect his generation to be PC. She has also told me that he has been moping ever since because he feels like an outcast in the family, and that I shouldn't have been so harsh. I am glad I stood up for my daughter, but I never intended for everyone to leave as a result of the banana. Now I wonder if I was too much? Was I the AH? NTA. His behavior is beyond absurd. Obviously, bullying and threatening a child is awful, and you were right not to tolerate it. Your kid did nothing wrong. Anyone would assume that food set out at a family barbecue is there for guests to eat. I'd never expect anyone to ask me for food I'd put out. Your uncle is obviously pissed that you called out his shitty behavior, and everyone agrees with you. He's likely unaware that he's actually sad, because men of older generations were taught only to express anger. The guy is 71, only a couple years older than my brother. He has no excuse. He's probably always been a bully because it make him feel powerful. He's just an unholy. NTA. I don't see how being PC has anything to do with this. He blew up at your kid for a minor infraction. Heck, he was the one that told you that you, your husband, and kid were no longer welcome. The fact that all those people left proves that they all felt as you had, but did not have the nerve to speak up before. And they all confirmed you were not too harsh. Sounds like you're free from having to visit him again at least. If others want to make peace with him, that's their business. But you have nothing to apologize for. Expecting your family to treat you with decency and respect is not being PC. The fact is, the uncle sounds like a big bully. If he doesn't want to accept the consequences of being a bully, that's his problem. NTA. Accusing a 6-year-old of being a thief for having a banana at a relative's house is pure absurdity. I'm sorry your daughter had this experience, that is not okay. I would cut all contact with them personally. NTA. Was your uncle high? He shouted at a child for taking a banana? What? And then threatened to call the cops? No, you are not in the wrong, and I honestly think you need to cut him out of your life, along with your aunt. Not only threatened to call the cops, but if I'm reading it right, actually pretended to do so. Tell your aunt, and your mom, if necessary, that you have no intention of apologizing to a man who bullies a child and says he'll send her to prison for being hungry. NTA. Has he always acted like this, or could he be suffering from the early stages of Alzheimer's? NTA. He's expecting a child to have manners he can't summon a modicum of. If he's old enough to understand right and wrong, he's old enough to understand he's being an asshole. Tell your aunt this isn't about being PC, it's about being a decent human being. You left, you didn't invite anyone along for the ride, they chose to leave after. If he feels embarrassed in his own home, he can take comfort in the fact there won't be any guests over in the future for a repeat situation. Good for you for having a backbone. Old folks don't get a pass to be mean cause they're old. NTA. And it was perfectly normal for your daughter to take the banana. She did not demonstrate any lack of manners at all. You guys, the invitees, have to ask permission every time you grab a chip from a bowl? Sounds like a very weird barbecue. You said what all your family has been biting their tongues not to say forever. You are the hero. And uncle reached the faithful part of his life. Let the mofo mope. AITA for refusing to make all my husband's meals? I have 3 kids and am currently pregnant with my 4th. I left work to take care of our kids. My husband thinks that because I don't work outside the house, it's my responsibility to take care of all duties related to the house and kids. You name it: cooking, cleaning, laundry, shopping, homework, school activities, drop-offs, etc. On top of everything I do, he also expects me to make all of his meals: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I am so tired recently from entertaining the kids all day during summer vacation, and I've been having a hard time with my pregnancy. He told me life's tough, this is your job, and has no sympathy for me. In fact, he thinks I have it easy because I don't work. The last 2 nights I've refused to make him dinner, and he's acting like I'm a useless, horrible wife. Why can't he stop at the store after work and pick himself something up? Or look at what we have in the fridge and make something? When he's hungry, he'll constantly say, "I'm starving, I'm so hungry," etc., being passive-aggressive to let me know he wants me to make him something. I'm completely undervalued and unappreciated. Am I an asshole for putting my foot down and refusing to wait on him hand and foot? NTA. Unless your husband is working 16 hours a day, he had better start stepping up. You're doing the work of babysitter, cook, cleaner, and personal shopper. How many jobs is he doing? I spent 10 years as a som. When he was at work, I was in charge of all kids/house duties. When he was home, it was 50-50. Seriously. I'm a stay-at-home mom too, and even when my husband works 14-hour days, he makes his own breakfast. Why are you still in this marriage? Why are you having a fourth child with someone who will not help you? You're creating more work for yourself. He is obviously the AH. Plan a vacation for yourself, even if it's staying with an in-town friend for a week, yes, a week. Call it a needed pregnancy rest. This isn't untrue, you are obviously stressed out. Surely his job provides vacation hours he can use while you're resting to ensure the safe delivery of his unborn child. Allow him to experience the work of house and child keeping full-time. If you come back and everything is in disarray, it will be. Tell him what a failure of a father he is and how life is tough, and he's a horrible husband who can't even look after his children and is home for 1 week while his wife is busy growing his child. Ask him how it feels to be spoken to and denigrated like that. NTA, but honestly, other than the kids, why are you still in this? If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.